We've got breaking news as Texas Tech lands yet another big fish in the transfer portal to add on to their already historic transfer portal class, this time in Stanford EDGE David Bailey. In today's video, we'll break down what this means for Texas Tech, what the Red Raiders can expect from him on the opposite side of Romello Height, and much, much more. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast, and I'll be honest with you, I just want to see him play at this point. And if you're the same way, all I'm going to ask you to do is like the video. I'm excited as hell to watch this Texas Tech team and portal class that they have coming in play on Saturdays in the fall. It is going to be absolutely electric. And adding a guy like David Bailey, a guy that we'll discuss and look at some things here in a second in terms of how he could impact the Texas Tech defense, it just makes it that much sweeter. So again, if you really just want to watch this team play and see this portal class, I mean, it's historic at this point for the Red Raiders. Play in the fall. All I'm going to ask you to do is simply like the video. Yeah, man, this one's pretty fun. Let me make sure I've got this right on your screen. There you go. You can see it on your screen. David Bailey when this is being recorded, they haven't updated it, but the news has broken that he has indeed committed to the Red Raiders. He is a transfer from Stanford, and he is ranked, according to On3, as the 8th overall player in this portal class. I mean, he is a true difference maker, people. I mean, a guy that was highly coveted in the portal. You had the likes of Texas going after him, UCLA, and of course, Texas Tech ended up landing his services and commitment to play in the Scarlet and Black next year. Now, I do want to go look at the overall rankings according to 247 Sports, and you can see them on your screen. Listen, Isaiah World, no surprise, he's the number one guy, but you continue to scroll down, and you look at the edges on here. David Bailey is viewed as the third best edge in this portal cycle, only behind Patrick Payton, who transferred from Florida State to LSU. And then you scroll up, Damian Wilson II, who transferred from Georgia to Missouri. I mean, we're talking about a guy that, as I get back on the screen here real quick, we're talking about a guy that is an NFL caliber edge right now today. He is getting discussed as being a day 2 pick in the NFL draft next year, potentially, right? He's got some things to develop, including his run defense, where it isn't all that great, but in terms of the traits that you want to see from an edge that can develop into a guy that can help in the run game, David Bailey has those, right? He can drop back into coverage a little bit as well, but if we're being honest, his premier skill set, and one that very few in college football have, is getting after the damn quarterback. And he does that at an elite level. 39 pressures last year in his junior season out on the farm in Stanford. I mean, he is a guy that you can't help but think about in a Shieldwood defense now, playing opposite of Romello Height, the transfer from Georgia Tech. And then you're going to have 3 guys potentially in the middle there where you're just going to really just have an embarrassment of riches, right? You talk about Lee Hunter. You have Joey McGuire talking about how he was running 16.5 miles an hour at 320. I mean, I don't know who's going to guard him one-on-one. And then if you double, congratulations, you have Romello Height and David Bailey one-on-one. If you have another DT in the middle, and I don't know why you wouldn't with, Antonio Holmes Jr., the transfer from Houston, who had the 3rd most pressures in the Big 12 last year. Oh, by the way, the guy with the most pressures in the Big 12, it was the aforementioned Lee Hunter. Then you go out and you get a guy like Skylar Gill-Howard, from Northern Illinois, who, if you watch the Notre Dame game, he was the best defensive player on the field. He dominated against a very good Notre Dame offensive line. You may remember they made the college football playoff, made it pretty far, right? Did the Fighting Irish. Skylar Gill-Howard dominated that game. And oh, by the way, that was their only loss in the regular season. In terms of Notre Dame, it was to the Northern Illinois Huskies, and Skylar Gill-Howard was the main reason why. Texas Tech went out and they addressed 2 glaring needs in the portal, more so than anything on the defensive side of the football. Defensive line and secondary. Secondary, we'll talk about that in later videos. But right now, the biggest thing for me is this defensive line in pass rush has done a total 180, maybe even a 540. They've done a whole 360 plus another 180. That's how far they have come in terms of the talent in this room. You have, in my estimation, 4 guys that I think could get drafted next year now on this defensive line. And David Bailey, the guy that they just landed, could be the highest drafted guy that Texas Tech has had on the defensive line edge, not named Tyree Wilson, in a very, very long time. He's that good. And then you pair him, again, Romello Height, you can't undersell him. He's got some draft pedigree as well. Yes, he's played at, the likes of USC. He played at Georgia Tech, Auburn. Like, he's played at a bunch of schools, but he has produced as well. He was highly coveted in the portal and ranked as a top 25 player. I understand this is a David Bailey, breaking news video and everything, but my biggest thing for Texas Tech in landing a guy like David Bailey, this was one of the missing pieces, right? When you look at this portal class that they have, and it's historic, that is not something that I'm just throwing out there loosely, right? Like, this is an historic portal class, right? And one of the main reasons that James Blanchard stayed at Texas Tech, Joey McGuire talked about that with his interview on Josh Pate's show. You should go check that out. But one of the big blemishes, I thought, for Texas Tech in this portal class was they addressed the defensive line, and they got a guy that can pass rush in Romello Height. There's no debating that. But it felt like they needed one more. It felt like they needed one more in terms of just an edge. And to go out and get a guy in David Bailey that, like, I don't mean to try to oversell him, but if he has a good year at Texas Tech, he may be a first-round pick. Like, I'm not saying that that's the most likely thing that happens, but he has the skills and the traits to do so. And now you're going to be in a defense coached by Sheil Wood where every single place he has gone in year number 1 has had a drastic turnaround. I mean, Houston was one of the worst defenses in college football before he showed up. And he had them as one of the best units in the Big 12. I'm talking like a top 5 unit in the Big 12 last year and a top 40 defense overall in college football, right? It's drastic changes. And now you supplement his scheme with a ton of talent, specifically on the defensive line is what we're talking in this video. I mean, it's the arrow is not even just pointed diagonal now. It's like straight up vertical for Texas Tech when it comes to this defense. And David Bailey is a guy where the one that I was most excited about in terms of this portal class was Lee Hunter. I think he is going to be the engine that makes this Texas Tech defense go because he's going to get interior pressure on the defensive line and really create problems for quarterbacks. And now you're going to have 2 guys that can almost corral the quarterback and force them to make bad decisions down the field with Romello Height on one side and David Bailey on the other. But David Bailey, in terms of physical traits and gifts, he may be the most gifted athlete on the Texas Tech defense. I know that that's a crazy thing to say potentially, but watch the tape. He's a stud on the outside. He can beat you in a multitude of ways when rushing the passer. He can drop back a little bit. He does need to improve in the run defense side of things, but I mean, what a home run. What a home run. Shout out to Joey McGuire, James Blanchard, everyone involved in making sure that Texas Tech just nullifies really one of the needs that they had on this defense going into 2025. And they don't just nullify it. I mean, they go out and get one of the premier pass rushers in college football and a guy that instantaneously in the Big 12 is like a top 5 guy. Like, it's that quick. Unbelievable addition for the Red Raiders. And this just gets me even more excited to watch these guys play in the fall. If you are excited about Texas Tech football in 2025, we're still a few months away. We will be talking more here on the channel throughout the summer. I promise you that. And obviously, we're going to have some content in the fall as well because it looks like it could be a really fun season. This is the place for you. So if you want to join 100% free and stay in the know on all things Texas Tech football, men's basketball, whether it's on the gridiron, hardwood, in the portal, we've got you covered right here on the largest group of Texas Tech fans on YouTube, almost 12,000 strong. Yes, you heard that correctly. Almost 12,000 strong. It's the most interactive channel. People can put their thoughts out there, not be judged harshly. That's what we're trying to build here, a thoughtful community of ball knowers. And we've got that here on the Back to 12 podcast channel. So again, if that interests you, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to join the Back to 12 squad today. And as always, stay safe and Recom Tech.